Funding for the Iowa Girls High School Softball Championships is provided by
The path to greatness starts early. The Iowa Farm Bureau believes in Iowa's youth and their pursuit of greatness. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Each student's effort is important, and when one rises, we all rise to a better Iowa.
Fairway, along with Nabisco, TruMoo, Frito-Lay, and Sara Lee, is a proud sponsor of the 2016 Iowa Girls High School Sports Championships. We congratulate all the schools and student athletes participating in this year's Girls High School State Soccer Championships. Fairway, proud to care for the places we work and live.
By MUSCO Lighting, the sports lighting specialist, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community.
Mid-American Energy and their Energy Advantage programs are dedicated to increasing the awareness of energy efficiency in Iowa's homes and businesses. Information is at midamericanenergy.com. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The weather has been hot, and it's hard to believe the games have been even hotter. We've given away 4 of these trophies today and some exciting finishes here in Fort Dodge. We've got one more to give away. It is in prime time. It's time for the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union Iowa Farm Bureau State Championships. It's Class 2A between the Iowa City Regina Regals and the Meter Bulldogs. It's number 7 versus number 6. Good evening, everybody. Paul Yeager alongside Laura Leonard in this recap or nightcap, whatever you want to call it. It's been a long day, but it has been a great day of softball, and we really should have another good one. We have another defending champ trying to hold on to that trophy in Iowa City Regina, but they've got the upstart Meter Bulldogs.
Meter's been very hot coming into this tournament, but Iowa City Regina wants to hang on to that title and repeat.
And so what it'll take for Meter, well, let's find out. Let's take a look at what they have done. This is their second trip to state. This is their first time in the state title game. They've never won a team title in girls sports. Tonight could be the first. They've won 14 straight games. They're pretty darn good against Class 2A opponents, 26-0, and their key players starting the circle.
Yeah, Bailey Richards has really had a great tournament. She's been very tough to hit. That's going to be a big key for them here tonight. Megan Blomgren, great leadoff hitter, really sets the table and gets them going.
Iowa City Regina took home the hardware last year. They'd like to do it again, except it's not quite the same team. 6 different players for this squad for John Protzman and his coaching there. They are the defending champs. Their key players, Sarah Lehman and Kennedy Brown, great 2 to start a team with.
That's a great nucleus to build around. Kennedy Brown at shortstop, great range. She will steal a lot of bases when she gets on, and Sarah Lehman has been unhittable in the circle.
All right, it is time to play softball. It's time to have the introductions. It's time to play one final game of the 2016 season.
Welcome to Rogers Sports Complex in Fort Dodge and the 2016 Iowa Girls High School State Softball Tournament. This final game tonight is a Class 2A championship featuring the Bulldogs from Meter and the Regals from Iowa City Regina. Introducing the non-starters for Meter: Trinity Bottenfield, Claire Lauterbaugh, Olivia Prouty, Julia Rhodes, Gwen Boston, Anna Tippling, Emma Derflinger, Hannah Mason, Paige Wyant. Assistant coaches for Meter: Josh Flaws, Hillary Pennington. Introducing the starting lineup for the Bulldogs from Meter. Leading off at second base, Megan Blomgren. Batting second in left field, Mackenzie Blomgren. Batting third, pitcher Bailey Richards. Batting fourth in right field, Casey Jamison. Batting fifth at shortstop, Haley FORRET. Batting sixth at third base, Lizzie Lyon. Batting seventh at catcher, Abby Archer. Batting eighth, designated player Bailey Harding. Batting ninth in center field, Dion Shirley. Playing first base, Shelby Tippling. Head coach for Van Meter, James Flaws. Introducing the non-starters for Iowa City Regina. Riley Mulcahy. Isabella Neibauer. Claire Dunn. Ellie Gayan. Molly Blondin. Susie Labodiak. Kerrigan O'Connor. Mary Graff. Paisley Gardner. Assistant coaches Morgan Gedkin, Bridget McCune, Carrie Feuerbach. And introducing the starting lineup for the Regina Regals. Leading off in center field, Emma Corkery. Batting second at second base, April Grostick. Batting third, shortstop, Kennedy Brown. Batting fourth, pitcher, Sarah Lehman. Batting fifth at first base, Katie Bracken. Batting sixth at third base, Emily Bonnet. Batting seventh in right field, Jess Hunter. Batting eighth, designated player, Taylor O'Connor. Batting ninth in left field, Emily Reese. And catching for the Regals, Maeve Dunn. Head coach for Iowa City Regina, John Protzman. Introducing the Class 2A championship umpires. At first base, George Harwood. At third base, LaWayne Rogers. And behind the plate, Julie Fogelsong. Ladies and gentlemen, players and coaches, it's time for state championship softball.
All right. Thank you for those introductions. The sun has gone behind a cloud. The wind hasn't reemerged, but it's time for one more. Let's look at the lineup for the Iowa City Regina Regals. Sarah Lehman is in the circle. Maeve Dunn behind the plate. Katie Bracken at first. April Grostick at second. Kennedy Brown at short. Emily Bonnet at third. Emily Reese, Emma Corkery, and Jess Hunter go left to right in the outfield for the Regals, who've had an incredibly tough schedule to get here. They have a pretty darn good pitcher there, as we mentioned, in Lehman in the middle. When we talk about Sarah Lehman, Laura, what does she do so well?
Well, she hits her spots. She has a lot of movement on her ball. You can see 285 strikeouts, so she can get people out of the plate, but she will trust her defense. They will put it in play against her.
She's a 1.32 ERA. Opponents are batting 156 against her. She's 15-10. Don't read too much into the record with the Regals because they have faced, as we'll get into it tonight, an incredibly tough schedule. The Bulldogs will send to the plate. First, it'll be the sisters, Megan Blumgren and Mackenzie. Then Bailey Richards, the pitcher, is also the batter. Casey Jamison, Haley FORRET, Lizzie Lyon, Abby Archer, Bailey Harding, and Dion Shirley for your Bulldogs. There are the Regals. What's it going to take for the Regals to win tonight, Laura Leonard?
Well, we already kind of talked about one of them, error-free defense, and Sarah Lehman needs to trust that defense, and they have played very well behind her, and then keep the hitters off balance. That's what she has done so well here in this tournament and throughout the season.
So digging in first will be Blumgren. Megan, the freshman. Her twin sister is, well, not quite. She's out there in the on-deck circle. Megan there, you see, batting .360 with 7 home runs. A lot of pop in that bat. So we kind of get things going here. So Van Meter is the road team. Batting first, and now behind in the count is Megan Blumgren. She'll play second base tonight. It's fun to have sisters and twins, and as long as I don't have to tell the twins apart, they wear numbers, I'll be okay.
That's what they need to do at home, too, I'm sure, just so everybody can tell them apart.
Well hit to left, up in the air, off the fence. It's going to be 2 for Blumgren. She's rounding, looking for 3, and she'll slam on the brakes with a leadoff walk double. Talked about popping the bat, and she delivered. She makes me look good. Megan, thank you.
Got a great pitch to handle and launched it into the gap. Little uppercut. Got it in between the two fielders. Looked like Corkery might have a play on it. Just turned the glove the wrong way. Coach holds her up as she rounds second base, but they got the leadoff on in scoring position.
Popped up, but made the catch behind the plate. What a move by Maeve Dunn. She's new behind the plate, but she's playing like a veteran with a move like that. We got to see that again.
Well, she really is, and she's a freshman. Look at that, and then lands right on top of the bat. But comes up, looking at the runner, gets the out. And she's a player that Coach Protzman has said really has improved over the course of the season. And learning how to catch Sarah Lehman, was not on the team a year ago. And so has come into this role having to learn a lot as this season has progressed.
And they're going to ride the wave of Lehman. She's got the ability to mix it up. That one's hitting the air as well towards left. It's going to be playable for the left fielder, Emily Reese. And there's two away now. Still a runner at second. Blumgren. Try to get knocked in here. That was Bailey Richards that popped up. Casey Jamison watches the first pitch. Don't know if that was a take all the way.
I think she's looking for obviously something that she can drive now. The two hitters that have made pretty good contact have popped it up into the outfield.
Change up. As you get a look from behind the plate, that's kind of the view we have, but just to the left of that.
Jamison knew it. She knew she couldn't hold back. That changeup came floating in there. She just could not hold the hands back.
They go fastball, and it's swung on and missed. Jamison goes down, and the Bulldogs waste a two-out, or a double to start the inning. Clearly started quickly for Van Meter, and that pop-up bunt kind of swung the momentum, and now the Regals will send their batting order. But let's talk about that Van Meter defense and how they look. At first base, Shelby Tippling. At second is Megan Blumgren. Haley FORRET is at short. Lizzie Lyon is at third. Mackenzie Blumgren in left. Dion Shirley in center, and Casey Jamison in right. Behind the plate is Abby Archer, and on the mound is Bailey Richards, a converted catcher, now as the pitcher. And that's no easy task, Laura.
No, it really isn't, but she has really developed into a very nice pitcher here for Van Meter.
17-2 on the year, 1.52 ERA, and opponents are batting .201. She sometimes can get a few runners on base, but when she has to, she slams that door shut. And you can tell that the Regals are checking out this pitcher, and this is what they'll send up to the line. Emma Corkery leads off and plays center field. April Grostek, Kennedy Brown, Sarah Lehman, the heart of the order there. Katie Bracken, Emily Bonnet, Jess Hunter, Kerrigan O'Connor, and Emily Reese, the lineup for head coach John Protzman for the Iowa City Regina Regals. So Van Meter is pretty good against 2A, but they got to beat one more 2A squad. What else do they have to do, Laura?
Well, they need to execute at the plate. They can't leave runners on. That's what Coach told us. They did that right there in the top of the first inning. They need to trust that defense. This Iowa City Regina team's going to put it in play, so the infielders and outfielders need to be on their toes, ready to pull everything in.
Emma Corkery digs in. Swings at the first pitch, lifts it right. Tailing foul, but it'll be caught in fair territory by Casey Jamison, and there's one away to start the Regina first.
Yeah, that ball started out kind of funny. Looked like it was going to drift foul, and then it came back into the field of play. That Jamison stayed right with it, didn't ever give up on it.
One away for April Grostek, the second baseman. Swings and misses on the first pitch.
Hitters are coming up, being aggressive at the plate. We saw Corkery swing at the first pitch. Now we see Grostek swing at the first pitch.
We're under the lights tonight after 8 o'clock on a Friday night, our fifth and final game of our coverage. Swung on a miss, April Grostek again. She's down in the hole, 0-2.
Coach Protzman telling her, just watch it come off her hip. You got to follow it all the way.
Hit towards third, but fielded in foul territory. Lizzie Lyon picks it up. Lizzie, one of those seniors, going to Iowa State, but this is it for her tonight, her final softball game. This is the final softball game of the 2016 season. Hard to believe we're done.
It goes so quickly. It gets here quickly, and then it flies by.
So like I say, hit by pitch. So the ball is dead, so going down is Grostic to first. So Kennedy Brown will bat.
Kennedy Brown with a home run in that first ball game in the quarterfinals. She also drove in 3 runs and had 3 stolen bases in that first ball game.
Watches the first pitch go high, and she's ahead in the count. Grostic at first on the hit by pitch. Kennedy Brown on the season .441 with 7 home runs. Good multi-sport athlete.
Been to 10 different state tournaments. She's an athlete in soccer, basketball, and softball. Been to total 10 state tournaments in all of those sports combined. Pretty impressive.
And in basketball, they just needed about 4 more minutes, 3 more minutes, and they would have maybe overcome that deficit in the semifinal and played for a championship in that sport as well, like they did in soccer.
Yeah, they've had a nice run with these athletes. They've had a nice few years with this group of young ladies.
Brown's ahead in the count, 2-1. Richards winds and fires. That is in there for a called strike. Julie Fogelson behind the plate tonight. George Harwood at first, LaWayne Rogers at third on this crew, as assigned by the Union. That one sails out of the zone. And the count is full.
Well, good at bat by Brown, making Richards work in the circle. The first 2 hitters got up there swinging away right away, not having her throw a lot of pitches. Now she's making her go deep in the count.
That one sails out of the zone, but not before Brown swings. They almost get to strike him out, throw him out. Stealing on the pitch was Grostic. So she's in scoring position now. And that'll bring in the pitcher, Sarah Lehman.
I've seen in other games today where the pitchers have helped their own cause. This is a nice opportunity for Lehman to put her team on the board first.
First pitch misses. Regina on the front, Iowa City Regina. Sarah Lehman on the season, .266. It's her batting average. They need her in the circle, but she can get some key hits at the right time. Pops it up, drifting foul, giving chase his line, and she's gonna run out of real estate. And we'll do it again. Abby Archer and Lizzie Lyon both kind of giving chase. Richards looks in for the sign. And she deals. That's upstairs. Richards, as we mentioned, Laura, and earlier on, she was the catcher up until they ran out of pitchers.
Yeah, they had some injuries, and Coach asked her if she could pitch, and she said, yeah, I can throw a little bit. And she's worked very hard on it and developed into a very nice pitcher. But as she goes on to play in college, she will become a catcher again as she makes that next step. And I asked her, I said, you know, does it help you as a pitcher being a catcher? Has that helped you? And she said, absolutely, because you know what you're thinking on both ends now, and how to work through certain things and how to fix things.
Swung on and put into play behind short. Going out is Haley FORRET, and she corrals the ball. And that's 3. So the Regals leave 1 on base. We've played 1 inning, no score. Mark Amadeo is the 3rd member of this broadcast crew, and he's offered us insight, and we know it will continue, Mark. What's going on? And you look very thoughtful right now. What are you thinking about?
Well, I remember what you said a couple of games ago, Paul, and I'm just trying to remember.
No one remembers what I said 2 games ago.
Remember turning my mic down and all that stuff. We're into the 5th game here. Congratulations to champions. Key of Lansing in Class 1A, Benton in Class 3A, Oskaloosa in Class 4A, and Coach Jay Harms, and in 5A, the Johnson Dragons, the champions. And we're going to crown this one here shortly. We'll have both coaches here coming up, but you look at Van Meter. They've won 14 in a row. This is only their 2nd state appearance, 2nd time here in Fort Dodge. And Iowa City Regina, the defending champs in 2A, and head coach John Prosman had to kind of put together this team, kind of mixed and matched, won his first 7, lost a lot in the middle, so they peaked at the right time. So we got a great championship here in the Class 2A final.
All right, Mark, thank you so very much. Look forward to those interviews. Todd Colt, and kind of an interesting end to that ball game. There was a premature celebration, and then it got a little tense. The tying run was on deck.
Yeah, you think you've won a state title, you're celebrating, and all of a sudden, here comes 2 runs in to score because it was just a situation where they didn't make the play, they didn't make the tag, and coaches stayed in it. As far as Akron Westfield, they knew what was going on. The umpires never called anything dead. They let the play continue while Key was celebrating on the field, and then you have to refocus after that. And it took them a little bit of time to get that focus back in to where they could close out that ball game.
They were up 7-1 at that time and went on to win 7-3. As the next pitch sails out of the zone to Haley FORRET. It's FORRET, Lyon, and Archer to face the pitcher, Sarah Lehman. Take a breath, 1 pitch at a time. Wind and fire. That one sails inside as well, and it's a 3-0 count on FORRET. She's just a freshman. Richards and Jamison, the seniors, as well as Lizzie Lyon and Dion Shirley, 4 good seniors. But there's a lot of young talent coming up for this squad, and it's ball 4. Haley FORRET, take your base.
Very patient at bat for FORRET, and didn't even really get a good pitch to look at. Just stood in there and took the walk.
That'll bring in Lizzie Lyon. Kind of fun to talk to Lizzie Lyon. Had a chance to after the quarterfinal game the other night. And the ball gets away from the catcher, and it was not a foul ball. It was an offered strike. So going down to second is FORRET, so the sacrifice not needed.
Oh, I think they might try to move her again just to get her over to third.
Nobody out here in the second. Show bunt again. Offered again.
And we've talked about it all day long. I think in all these games, fundamentals are so key. In these games, you've got to execute. When you're asked to lay down a bunch, you got to get it down. And for the most part today, we've seen pretty much everybody get the job done.
The 0-2. Swung on, put into play, but foul.
But I think, like you were talking about, you don't have to really worry about the sacrifice. She didn't get the bunt down. You still have that runner in scoring position. You'd like to have her at third base, but still she's right there, and you can allow Lyon to swing away and maybe knock her in with a base hit.
The 0-2. Lifted behind third. Coming over to make the play is Kennedy Brown, the ever-present. She's got some range.
She definitely has some range. She's got good hands, gets a good read on the ball off the bat, and does a good job of anchoring down that infield for Regina.
There you got a quick look at head coach James Flaws. His father coached for Carlisle earlier today. And that's inside.
Had quite a finish in that ball game. That one was we've had several crazy ball games here today.
Flaw said they brought the team to watch a few innings. They stayed for about the middle 3 and just decided it was too hot. Let's get the girls out of here and back to the AC. Called strike. Evens up the count at a ball and a strike, and Carlisle was leading going into the bottom of the 7th after they took the lead in the top of the 7th. And then Oskaloosa plated 3 runs to win it on a walk-off sacrifice fly. Not the most glamorous play, but it's a W nonetheless and a state championship for Oskaloosa. And then, just when you thought that was the way to end it, we had the 5A game.
A very intense ball game that came down to the wire as well.
It was all right, you know. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2, best hitter in the state at the plate. You know, nothing major.
No, nothing major, a little drama. Coach is going to come out and take a look at Dunn. She took that foul ball right off the mask and shook her head a little bit after the ball caromed away. So they're going to talk to her and make sure she's okay.
Maeve Dunn, I think she is a freshman.
What's that?
Or is he just checking on?
No, he was just checking
okay,
on.
good,
Yep.
Yeah, just conferring. Coach Flaws wanted to make sure if that was a conference or checking on her.
Here we go, 13, let's go, kid.
It was just a health check. Lehman gets a chance for a breath. The 2-2. Swung on and missed. Abby Archer. Strikeout for Lehman. There's 2 away here in the 2nd. Up to Bailey Harding to keep the inning going.
Archer went after ball 3 there. That was out of the zone, but being aggressive and maybe a few nerves at the plate, knowing she has an opportunity to knock in the first run of the ball game, went after a bad pitch.
Called strike to Harding, batting about .271 on the season. Lehman winds, fires, and it's swung on and missed again by Harding. On deck is Dion Shirley. First base open. The runner at second is Haley FORRET. She had a walk and then stole second, or advanced to second on a wild pitch. The 0-2 is somehow saved by Dunn. Dunn's sister Claire is also on this team. 2 pairs of sisters on both of these squads. Sometimes you have that in the 1A, 2A fields.
And they're usually multi-sport athletes as well.
Swung on and missed again, Bailey Harding. Lehman with another strikeout. Van Meter leaves another run. And Bailey Richards will go to work.
Okay, hey. When she pitches you, she's pitching you outside, and you try to reach out and pull that ball on baseline, or you're going to pop the ball up. After the pitches, take the hands to it to the outside, drive to right field, just like she did. Right, ball to the outfield. Got that? Okay. Hit 23.
Here we go.
Don't try to pull everything. Put it in play. We saw that in the 5A game. And Coach John Protzman back in the title game again. And you said, oh, you're repeating. Well, it was a hard road to get here. Early on, Durant and BCLUW. Durant was number 2 in the state. They lost to BCLUW 2-1 in an extra inning game. And then Van Meter knocked off Interstate 35. Logan Magnolia in the last year's title game in Class 1A knocked out Central Springs for the 2nd time. Central Springs couldn't advance out of the opening round, and then Regina knocked out North Union 7-3. Regina defeated Logan Magnolia 7-0, and Van Meter over BCLUW 2-0 in that ball game. And Logan Magnolia finishes 3rd this year with a 3-0 victory over BCLUW in the consolation game, which I think probably ended about 4 hours ago. We're a little behind in this one, but we are in the bottom of the 2nd. Here from Harlan and Hazel Rogers Complex in Fort Dodge. Sky's a little blue to the north now, and I'm not talking sky blue. A little bit of rain maybe developing to the north. We had some on Tuesday as the first pitch is a strike. Looking to see if we can squeeze this one in. They had some rain to the north. Jim Winter and his crew were watching the radar intently. wondering where I got my meteorology degree from. And he said I matched with the National Weather Service. So I don't know if to take that as a compliment or not.
Do you have your diploma there from there, though?
I did do weather in Mason City for about 3 months, and then I was kindly told to maybe find something else to do.
I doubt that. I'm sure you're a great weatherman.
It was a good experience, and I still like the weather to this day. Well, when you grow up on a farm, that's kind of, you know, the weather is your life, and gives you something to talk about, and that's all I've talked about is the heat today.
It's worth talking about, let me tell you.
I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but Bailey Richards throws. Swing and a miss, strikeout. Another one recorded. Katie Bracken sits down. That'll bring in Emily Bonnet. You know, we had close to, it felt like about 110 earlier today. Sun was out, we had a breeze, and then the breeze went away. Let's take a look at this strikeout again. Swung on and missed, providing about, that swing was about the only breeze out on the field at this moment. The flag is pretty down. You can see not many of those trees moving, and this one's hit high in the air around home. Richards goes to make the play. Collision. Catch is still made. But Archer and Richards probably is about 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches shorter than her catcher. So physics were not in her favor there.
Well, straight up, 3 people converging on it. I'm going to tell you what, Tippling thought better of it, and she stayed out of the middle of it, and then the 2 of them converse, and, you know, Richards being a former catcher, she knew what she was supposed to do in that situation. She was calling for it, but you got to have some communication.
Chopped, foul. And a lot of, you know, we've talked, we had it earlier today, where sometimes you don't want your catcher making that play because the ball is spinning going away from the catcher. Richards coming in, and really Tippling could have had, as you said, could have had probably just as good a beat on it as anybody. It would have been a long way, as it really made it about 10 feet from home. The 0-1. Swung on and missed by Jess Hunter.
I think that's that pitch that Coach Protzman was talking about. They're swinging right through it. They're trying to pull it. They need to go with that pitch. It's moving away from them, it looks like. They're working that outside corner again.
And they go right back to it, Laura. The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And the Regals go in order. We played 2 full innings, no score. Van Meters had a runner on base each game, or each inning.
That means it's going to be too high. Okay, a ball you want to hit the ball that you can see if it's coming down. You have to look down at it. That means your eyes are going to be tracking it in, okay? Something down you can drive. That's what I'm saying, all right? Hey, we got to get bunts down. So run second base twice. Couldn't get a bunt down. Then move them over. So we got to get bunts down. Let's go. 1 defense. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lester batting. Get that ready to go.
As Sarah Lehman makes her way to the circle, we had a chance to look at her earlier. One of the production techniques we've been able to do today is bring you some super slow motion action. Let's do it again.
Here's a good head-on look, and look at the way she comes off the rubber, gets that good leap, throwing, not getting the, and it depends on what pitch you're throwing too. You can see the way that her hand curves a little bit, the way it's coming off her fingertips. That's a really good look at how you can throw different pitches, what kind of spin you can get on them, and it just depends on the way you move your hand, you snap your wrist, the way your grip is on the ball.
She struck out 3 and walked 1 through the first 2 innings. Had a hit batsman. So Shirley steps in, Dion Shirley. She's also going on to play at the next level. She'll go play for her dad at Marshalltown Community College, and she tries to lay down a bunt, but that goes foul. And her dad actually used to be her coach here at Van Meter before he went to Ankeny Centennial.
He moved on to Ankeny Centennial as coach there for the last couple of years, and so made the move from Van Meter to Ankeny Centennial, Marshalltown Community College.
One of those coaches that likes to pull that double duty. Assumption's coach is also St. Ambrose's coach. And that one goes into the stands, and Lehman is ahead now, a ball and 2 strikes. Here in the top of the third, it's Shirley, Blumgren, and Blumgren. And if anybody gets aboard, Bailey Richards. Shirley for the left, slaps it back to Lehman. Lehman has to wait for her first baseman, who had charged in on the play. Katie Bracken had to run just as fast to beat Shirley to the bag.
It was a little closer than it probably should have been. And everybody was very calm and casual about it, but Shirley hustling down the line, maybe put a little extra pep in that step, she might have made it.
Megan Blumgren, the only hit of the ball game for either team, led off the game with a double. She looks at a first pitch called strike here in the third at her second at-bat. Blumgren, another one of those young nucleus, a freshman. And that one sails out of the zone and nobody on base, so no harm, no foul. I don't think that was a Nuke LaLoosh hit the mascot type pitch, but it just to show how you are in charge, but sometimes the ball just slips out.
No, we've talked about it all day just because of the humidity. Right there again, I think it was maybe some moisture coming down her forearm, not being able to keep the hand dry, getting a good grip on the ball.
From the double redundancy department, she's got both a towel and a rosin bag.
Well, I think in this kind of weather, I think you got to do whatever you can do to keep your hands dry at this point.
Now they're called strikes, so now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Megan Blumgren.
2 strikes.
The pitch is fouled and right back into your living room. If you're watching it from Marlon's perspective, who's behind home plate here.
He might have the best seat in the house.
He might. He's got a fan right on him. Plexiglass in front of him, no chain link fence. There's a look at his camera. That's a pretty good view.
It's a great view. See the whole field.
Popped up. That's going to be behind the stands. And these are the home stands that are new. Their second year here at Fort Dodge. Went through a big renovation before last year's state championships. Added the home stands, redid the side stands. You get to take a look at there. Looks much more like a stadium seating. Press box up there. Rumor has it has air conditioning.
You know, we haven't been let into that press box yet, have we?
It's a triple secret knock, and I've missed it. I've messed it up each time I've gone in there. There's a rough bouncer at the door. His name is Joel, and he doesn't let me in anytime. Good folks working on up there, and they've been keeping the tunes coming and us informed and keeping stats of all these games, deciding what's a hit, what's an error. They've been here for all the games this week. The 2-2 misses, and the count moves full. We've had games. Yeah, I bring up Joel Oswald, just his crew. He's in charge of crewing the umpires, one of his job duties. And after Tuesday gets rained out, they had to move. They had to figure out where to put everybody, and then had to get some umpires because schedules didn't quite all match up. Took them about 4 hours, and it's ball 4. Great at bat from Megan Blumgren. She battled all the way back to earn the walk. So you had games, all the quarterfinal games that were Tuesday now became Wednesday, but Wednesday is traditionally a consolation day where you have all the other games except the runner-up game. Ball gets away from Dunn, and hustling down to second is Blumgren, so it's like she's got a double again. She's in second with 1 out. All those games had to be moved, and some umpires just weren't able to work the games on Wednesday or Thursday like they were originally assigned, and so they had to figure out where to put them and staff them, and no easy undertaking. They got it done. We played everything on the same day. Maybe not on time, but that's just because the softball games went long. And good softball games. The 1-0 to McKenzie.
Everybody around here has done a great job of getting things back on track after washing out all of the games on Tuesday. So hats off to grounds crew, staff at the Iowa Girls Union, everybody that was able to get this back on track.
3 inches of rain in about 4 hours. The 2-0 is in for a strike, trying to get down to third. Safe! Blumgren goes down to third. She stole that one out of the night sky. And that was kind of tough because Bonnet was crashing.
Well, there's Show Bunch.
She comes in and cannot get back in time, so it's a good heads-up play by the shortstop, Kennedy Brown. 2 balls, 1 strike to Mackenzie Blumgren. Her sister stands at third. Can she knock her home? Shows bunt, goes out of the zone and almost gets out of the glove of Dunn. Great save there to save a run.
Now, yesterday we saw Van Meter squeeze a run home, and this is be a good opportunity, same kind of situation. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Perfect opportunity to do it. Bonnet's already cheating in again. That one is inside. That's ball 4. Doesn't get the squeeze, but she puts the runners at the corners. The Blumgren sisters are on base. And that'll bring in the pitcher, Bailey Richards. She pitches, but hitting's kind of one of her things she likes too. Asked to pick, she can't. She just loves the game of softball. She's asking for time, and it is awarded by Julie Fogelsong.
So runners at the corners. They might send Mackenzie Blumgren from first to second to get 2 runners into scoring position, and Richards might be taking a pitch here.
Shows bunt, pulls it back. They're gonna just let Mackenzie have second. So now it's second and third. The force is taken out of play, but both runners are now in scoring position. Richards from the left side, bat over the head. Wiggles and waits. And that's a called strike. 1-1 now, the count.
Infield drawn in, trying to cut the run off at the plate. You have to believe that they're going to go on contact. Blumgren at third, probably going to go on contact. She's speedy.
Well hit to left, back, up, away, off the wall. 1 run's going to score. Another run is going to score. It's a 1-run, 2-run double for Bailey Richard, and Van Meter takes the lead, 2-0.
She drilled that, got all of it. Thought it might get out of here, but it hit off of the fence. And the Blumgren sisters, I tell you what, Mackenzie was right on Megan's tail.
She was almost
beat her there, and that would have been a bad thing, but she stayed right behind her. Look at that, she scores in her sister right after her.
Well, you know, twins have a lot of mannerisms that are the same. Except one was playing it safe and thinking it was going to be caught. The other one says, no way. Ground ball, up the middle, base hit. They're going to wave Richards around. She's going to, here's the throw, the play at the plate, cut off. Not in time, going down to second, in time for a base hit. Casey Jamison comes through, 3-0, Van Meter.
Time! Well, what have we said? All tournament long, hits are contagious. They've been able to put a couple of hits together, and Richards waits for that ball to get through, had to hold up. It's a good throw, just a little bit offline. Richards slides around, takes the plate with her hand, and they still have a runner in scoring position.
Our offense coming up, okay? You all right? Okay, let's throw the ball hard. Drive it in there, let's go. Good defense. They hit spots on us 3 times. Look at me stuff out there. Keep on going tough. Defense, 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
What's the key to winning, Coach? Don't let them score any runs.
Yeah, score more runs.
I said, is that a new strategy? I like the old school nature of Coach John Protzman. I really do. He loves the game. They work hard. They have a lot of practice. He's got these girls tournament ready. They're down, though, 3-0 here in the third. Pitch gets away from the catcher, and going down to third is going to be JAMISON.
Well, when we talked to Coach Protzman, he said that Maeve Dunn has had some troubles catching Sarah Lehman because she throws so hard. Sometimes not always hitting spots, so you have to be able to knock them down and keep them in front, and she's having a little trouble doing that here in this ball game.
Showing bunt is FORRET. She pulls it back, but it was a strike anyway. So the top part of the Van Meter order, Laura, has been very effective in this state tournament. 8 of their 10 runs at state have been scored by the top 3 in the batting order. So that would be Megan Blumgren, Mackenzie Blumgren, and Bailey Richards. And guess who've scored the first 3 runs of the game tonight for Van Meter? Megan Blumgren, Mackenzie Blumgren, and Bailey Richards. So stick with the formula that works.
10's gonna run for 21.
10.
Pinch run.
So we're going to have a pinch runner here, and it's going to be GWEN Boston. So Boston goes in place.
21.
Casey JAMISON, if Coach Flaw sees an opportunity to get one more here. Get her into the game. So there you see Boston, a freshman. That's usually the way it starts. 8th grade, 9th grade.
One ball, one
Get your feet wet as a base runner. Pitch is swung on and missed by Haley FORRET. And she falls behind, a ball and 2 strikes.
Now, I thought with bringing in a pinch runner that they might go ahead and try to squeeze. I don't think they're going to do it here with 2 strikes.
Yeah, you never know how much confidence he has in the freshman. Let her swing away, pops it up, foul. So yes, you're right. Conventional wisdom wins out to being, instead of being a riverboat gambler.
You just need to lift one to the outfield. Allow her to tag at third. Boston will come home with a 4th run of the inning.
FORRET walked her last at bat. She's down in the count 1-2. Looks at that one, chops it towards third. They're coming home. The play is out. Great play, Kennedy Brown to Maeve Dunn, and Boston's erased.
Time!
FORRET goes to first on a fielder's choice. Infield in, works to perfection. Let's see it again.
That's why you bring the infield in, pound it into the ground right in front of the plate. Low throw,
Wow.
Great tag. Done right there in front. Able to hang on to that throw, and they get the out at the plate. Keep another run from scoring.
That was a perfect throw from Kennedy Brown to the plate. In front, low, catchable. Ball lifted, and it's caught by the second baseman, April Grostic, to end the threat. But not before. Van Meter plates 3, takes a 3-0 lead in their half of the 3rd inning. So Maeve Dunn, you see, gets a cooling towel as the Regals head into that dugout, which is more like a hot box. But a true dugout because it goes into the ground a couple of steps. I like that old school feel. Bailey Richards, she's done it from the circle. Let's see her in super slow motion as the converted catcher, now a pitcher. Look at the eyes. I know you're looking at the hand, but the eyes are pretty intense right there. What else do you see, Laura?
Well, again, all these pitchers we've seen today with good leg drive and good arm whip and the snap and turning it over. And she just, it really is amazing that she came up as a catcher and has developed into such a really fine pitcher.
And now she's got 3 runs to work with. And it took 10 innings for Van Meter to even get into the state tournament and punch their ticket. Needed 10 innings. Got it done.
against Eddyville, Blakesburg, sorry.
Which has been to state a time or two, played in the state title game 2 years ago.
I'm going to tell you, the key player in that ball game was one Bailey Richards. She had 2 home runs in that game, and one of them was the game winner.
Taylor O'Connor, Emily Reese, and Emma Corkery due up for the Regals. First pitch is high.
Now, Richards has certainly quieted this lineup of Regina.
Popped up right side, right at the second baseman, and it's caught by Megan Blumgren. Not really centering that ball at all.
Well, they've got to decide what they're going to do, what their approach at the plate is going to be like, and knowing that Richards is working the ball in and out and up and down. You got to look for a pitch that you can go either go opposite field or get one down and low that you can drive.
Emily Reese comes in. She plays soccer for the Regals. Lifts this one. Drifting foul, giving chase. Wasn't Tippling, it was Blumgren. She's got some speed, and also coming in was the right fielder, Casey Jamison.
Well, you know she has speed. We saw them on the base paths in that last inning, how quickly they got around.
Can't teach speed. Use it to your advantage, and that ball is low. And Reese, the senior, has another opportunity here against Bailey Richards. The 2-1. Fouled into your living room. Well, low, it went onto the floor. You got to pick that up so the kids don't trip on it in the morning. Hope there's some kids watching. You know, you think about, Laura, I've been meaning to talk about this pretty much all day. The youth softball in this state. So we look at this 2-2. Is out of the zone. You know, there's a lot of these girls play on multiple teams. They've played a lot of games in the spring, played some fall ball. They'll play wherever they let them play if they're not doing another sport. And sometimes they're doing another sport and playing fall ball. What can the younger generation learn from coming up and watching this tournament, Laura?
Well, we certainly have seen good quality softball, and I think it's fundamentals that you're going to see these teams that are in these positions fighting for a state title, that they all do the fundamentals very well. They execute when they're asked to execute, and they have a good approach at the plate. So I think the biggest thing is learning the fundamentals and be willing to accept the fundamentals, work on those things. It's not fun, it's sometimes boring when you drill those things, but to become a good softball player, those are the things you need to do, and you can maybe one day be in this position playing in this ball game.
Emma Corkery hits the first pitch foul. And there's a lot of girls that come and watch, and some are in the stands, and maybe it'll be me next year or 2 years from now. Maeve Dunn, one of those, the catcher for Regina, not on the varsity roster last year. She was here to watch the Regals win, and now she's behind the plate. But now Emma Corkery rips it right at the shortstop. They're going to try to double off the runner, and oh, the ball gets away from Tippling. Haley FORRET caught it, put it on a line, but Tippling just not quite able to squeeze it for the double play, but they still get an out, and there's 2 away here in the 3rd. And you know, to say that coaches aren't interested in you if you're playing high school ball, well, I'd like to show you the dozens and dozens of college coaches I've seen here this week.
A lot of college coaches. Have talked to a lot of them roaming around the grounds here. And they're all very interested in the quality of softball that we play here in the state of Iowa.
And you're not having to compete with other states playing that spring schedule where they finish up in June. Iowa, the only state that plays in the summer. We used to play in the summer and in the fall. Which did you like better, the fall season or the summer season?
You know, I didn't get the opportunity to play fall softball, and we only had summer softball in the metro schools, and it was more the smaller schools that had that fall softball. But I really enjoyed the summer, but I enjoyed watching the fall softball because there were some very good teams that I could go and watch and learn from.
Ripped foul down the line by Ipple Grostic. Well, you say metro schools because one of the teams that used to play a lot of fall ball and win a lot of state championships, you think of the Ankeny Hawks and Dick Rasmussen. I mean, at the time,
right, right,
they were a small town.
And Urbandale
too.
Urbandale had a very good ball club, and as a matter of fact, I think they might still have a state record for consecutive wins in softball. They had a very good group of players for a couple of years that won a summer title and a fall title back-to-back.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The count to April Grostic, who was hit by pitch back in the first. She looks at it high. And Richards, you can start to see the shoulder slump. She asked the umpire earlier where the pitch was, and she didn't like that call. So now the Regals have Richards a little bit flustered. You can kind of see it in her body language now. The 3-2. Swung on, popped up. Towards second, going to make the catch is Megan Blumgren, and the threat is ended. The Regals strand a runner.
Plate. Make her come with you, something down and flat. Something you can drive. Let's go. Keep believing. Let's go. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
All right, so the Van Meter Bulldogs with a 3-0 lead. They had just been pushing and pushing, and now let's go to Mark Amadeo.
All right, thanks, Paul. As we have Van Meter head coach James Flaws with me. And, Coach, out to a 3-0 lead. Things going well. Got off to a great start. Kids playing loose tonight.
Yeah, they. I thought they'd be a little tight since it's a championship game, but they came out pretty loose. First inning, we didn't quite get bunts down when we needed to, but we were able to score some runs last inning, which really kind of eases things up for us.
Second time Van Meter's ever been to the state tournament. Your dad's been here many times taking those Carlisle teams, so you're in the driver's seat right now. I know there's a lot of people down at the Van Meter Legion watching tonight's game on Iowa Public Television.
Yeah, it's just exciting to be here, so I'm happy to be here.
We've had a great week, and talk about finishing off this game, and obviously the defending champs, the Regals from Iowa City.
We got to work ahead, pitching-wise. Work ahead, keep fielding the ball like we are, and then keep putting the ball in play like we have been. So if we do those things, we'll be fine.
James, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark Amadeo. And it's easier to coach when you're up 3-0 than down 3-0. Bailey Richards gets out of the jam, doesn't give up a hit, still has not given up 1 in 3 innings. And coming to the order, or coming to the plate, is the bottom of the order, Abby Archer, Bailey Harding, and Dion Shirley for Coach Flaws and his squad. I'd like to thank Mark for his interviews and insight all day, help on clarifications. An umpire, and this is my time where I get to embarrass him just a tiny little bit. He's going into the Umpire Hall of Fame on Monday, as there'll be a softball showcase over there. And Mark now goes into his 3rd Hall of Fame. You want to guess the 3?
No, I'm going to let
This is the how well do you know Mark Amadeo game.
Apparently I don't know him very well.
Well, unfortunately, some of us know him too well. Mark will be going into the Umpire Hall of Fame. He's in the Dowling Catholic Hall of Fame, where he was an alum, and he's also in the Media Hall of Fame for the Iowa High School Athletic Association. So congratulations to Mark. And so I think when they put him in the Hall of Fame, they're supposed to be done umpiring, but we won't get into that another time. 2 balls and 1 strike to Abby Archer. Swung on and missed. Mark, part of this crew today. He's had a couple of guys over there working with him all day. They finally found some shade in the last game. And this crew was happy for nightfall. And also, and I should add that Mark is not the only Hall of Fame inductee that's part of the IPTV Sports broadcast crew. Kathy Creighton, who called the games with Brad Wells today, she too going into the Hall of Fame. So,
well, very well deserved, because I'm going to tell you what, the umpiring job, you get yelled at all the time. We pick on them on the TV sometimes, and to get those honors and those accolades is very well deserved, because they do a great job of handling these softball games and do it in temperatures like this. They call a lot of games throughout the summer, and so well deserved to both of them. And good job by all the umpires here at the state tournament this week.
and both of those have done such a good enough job. They've been honored with being umpires of the year before. And, you know, Mark isn't a spring chicken. Kathy is, of course. I mean, she hasn't aged a bit. There is a need for the next generation of umpires. You're starting to see there's a couple on this crew a little younger. You need to see a few more of those people because, as you said, Laura, it is not the easiest job, as you do take some of that abuse. But if you love the game of softball and if you ever have a conversation with Kathy about it, she's always talking to someone. I think we need it. You could be a good umpire. You'd be a good umpire. You should think about doing that. She's always recruiting in that role. Foul ball down the right side, and we'll do it again for Bailey Harding as Abby Archer struck out. Dion Shirley on deck. Know the rules of the game, and it helps teach the game.
And goodness knows we've needed an interpreter on some of the rules today with some of the games we've had. We've seen some crazy things happen in all of these finals, and thank goodness we've had people on the crew that could explain things to us.
Lehman sends that one out of the zone, and now she is back even at 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Lehman gloves it, throws it, swing and a miss, strikeout for Bailey Harding. She'll sit down, and Lehman records another. That's 5 for Lehman. Had an incredible performance by Amber Pfizer, which I think was about 12 hours ago for Benton Community. She set a Class 3A state tournament record for strikeouts. Had already set it once earlier in the week at 13, then she did herself better. That's 16, 19 today. Was I even at that game? Kind of wondering if I was. No, that was a great game. 8-0 Benton over Assumption. Oskaloosa beat Carlisle 6-5. Johnson over PV 3-2. Key beat Akron Westfield 7-3. And right here, it's Van Meter 3 and Regina of Iowa City 0. Shirley pulls that foul.
Shirley would just like to put this in play, turn the lineup over, get it back to the top. That has been so productive for this Van Meter team. They have been the ones that have led the way throughout this tournament, scoring in the runs.
And she is absolutely your second leadoff hitter, the way she bats and approaches her plate. Slaps at it, bunts it, puts it in play. Shirley in her first at-bat went 1-3. That was the first out of the inning, and then the Bulldogs got going. With a walk and a RBI double. 2 RBI double.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Shirley swings and lifts it into the screen, and now the count is full.
Turning out to be a good battle here at the plate, and Lehman just trying to find the weak spot to get her out, and Shirley just would like to get on base, let her run.
Called third strike. Shirley sits down. Lehman records her 6th of the game. She strikes out the side. We've played 3.5 here at Harlan and Hazel Rogers Complex. Van Meter 3, Iowa City Regina 0. Coach John Protzman, you saw there in a moment, and he's now making his way over, and he'll talk with Mark Amadeo in just a moment. So he had to do this last year, and he was familiar with the drill, and it just kind of helps teach the game of softball and experience another game of softball. As we see the Regals make their way in, they kind of have a hill to climb, and Mark Amadeo joins us now.
All right, Paul, thank you. I have head coach John Protzman, the defending champs, Regals from Iowa City. And, Coach, you had the bullseye on your back, but this team has rallied late in the year, and there's an opportunity here tonight.
It is. You know, the problem we had, look at the scoreboard, you don't see any hits for us up there. And if you don't hit the ball, you're not going to score many runs. We popped the ball up 5 times to the infield, and that's been the story of the game so far. They hit line shots, we're popping it up. If we don't change that, it could be a long ride home. But, you know, we'll get some time yet, so we'll see what happens.
Well, game plan the rest of the way, attacking the Van Meter pitcher, being active in the strike zone, being attack of the strike zone.
That's the main thing. We're just waiting too much on one pitch and seeing what we like, and probably swinging some things that probably aren't there. She's pulling us outside. We're going after it and not following the ball.
Coach, thanks for joining us, and best of luck here.
Thank you.
John Prosman, the head coach at Iowa City Regina, the defending champs. Back to you, Paul and Laura.
All right, John Protzman in his 17th year of coaching. He's also been at HLV Victor. New London is where he's from, and he was a fast-pitch softball player. One of two coaches that were fast-pitch softball players, men. The other, Coach Bakey at Valley. Those two guys played a lot of fast-pitch softball. Now they're coaching fast-pitch softball here.
I'm going to tell you what, that's something that I miss seeing is men's fast-pitch softball, because that's some quality stuff there. That is some good softball.
I think some of those guys would keep on playing if their bodies would just let them. First pitch to Brown is a strike, and the second one is a ball. Kennedy Brown headed to Mizzou.
I'm going to try to walk on to the softball program down there, and we'll see a lot of Iowa influence. There's a lot of Iowa players that have gone to Mizzou.
Not always have stayed the whole time. Transfers are just a part of college athletics.
You know, I was talking to one of the Iowa State coaches that's up here, and she said, you know, these players are committing so much earlier now in their career as 8th graders and freshmen, and that's the reason why you see a lot of transfers as they get to that college age and they spend a year or two at the college that they've committed to, and maybe that really wasn't the right fit for them, and as it was when they committed 3 or 4 years prior to that. So, you know, I think it's something to be said about that really take your time and figure out what you want to do as a player, and don't commit so darn early and lock yourself in.
However, I had another coach tell me who said a lot of times if a girl hasn't committed by the time she's a junior, coaches start whispering, what's the matter with her? She hasn't committed yet. Is there some? So, I mean, there's that double side of how they have to walk that fine balance. And as you said, a lot can change in 2 years. Coaching staffs, approaches, the girls mature a little differently, you know, whether
Maybe
a good experience, an injury.
You know, a good friend of mine always said, you recruit with your eyes and not your ears. And so you should wonder if somebody hasn't made a commitment by the time they're a junior, maybe go out and watch them play and see, and maybe make that decision for yourself. And I always think that was such good advice, would be recruit with your eyes and not your ears.
Sky-high foul ball is taken out of the night sky by Lizzie Lyon. Kennedy Brown is retired to start the 4th. And sometimes not everybody wants to keep playing. They just get done. They've played a lot of that travel ball, little league ball, varsity softball, and just say, you know what, it was a great time of my life. It's now time to move on. I had a good high school experience. Lifted behind second, short, that's gonna fall for a base hit. Lehman's gonna be on, and that would have been a tough play regardless. Wait on the official ruling here. Going back to try to get it was Haley FORRET. That is gonna be ruled a hit. You can see how she got under it just enough, Lehman did.
Good effort by FORRET, and just could not close a glove and wrap around that ball.
That'd have been a great play, one of the best defensive plays we've seen. And so Lehman is at first. And Abby Archer zings that ball back to Richards. Katie Bracken 0 for 1 tonight and a strikeout. She's a freshman playing first base. Richards' pitch. And what's turned into a beautiful scenic night. You can see the brown of the brick dirt infield there and the blue sky up above. Dark blue sky. So we move this game along quickly in the 4th. The 1-1 is bunted in the air towards Lyon. She makes the grab! On one knee. Lizzie Lyon has made both outs this inning. I don't know which one was better. Let's look at this one again.
This one's pretty impressive, and just jabbed at that pitch and popped it up. Lyon charging, able to come up with that one, has made 2 spectacular plays here in this inning.
Lyon looks at that glove. Oh, yeah, it works. Yeah. It's all good. In the bat, Emily Bonnet. Richards delivers the pitch, and it's turned by Bonnet down the third base line, and then Lyon goes to chase it.
Not sure if she was trying to show off her soccer skills or what she was trying to do. She was trying to stop it with her foot and lost her footing.
I was trying to tactfully say what she just did. That works. Soccer. She soccered it. The 0-1. Runner going. Lyon fields it, throws it, makes the out. Lyon a part of all outs in that inning. The Regals strand a runner. They get a hit and leave one. We got to see Lyon again. She gets the compliments for the teammates. That's a senior for you, folks. Here's the swing, and this is a foul ball in front of her own dugout. Friendly territory up against the fence. Hello, Ed. And then that one's popped up, and another diving catch. For some reason, we're going to leave off the soccer highlight. Probably for her embarrassment, our only.
But she wanted to give the glove a rest. So that's why she used her foot to stop that ball. That glove has made some really nice plays for her. So instead of bending down with the glove, she just stuck the toe out there and stopped it. But how about that? All 3 outs she had a hand in, and that's some good defense down there at the hot corner.
There's a look inside the Van Meter dugout. One of our camera angles inside both of the dugouts. It's kind of fun to see that when there's a home run and they just run right out of there. Now, I hope Dion Shirley doesn't hit that camera too close. She's standing on the bucket right there. Haven't seen many teams do that today. Now, the Key girls, I don't know how much you heard of all their singing ability.
I did
They
not.
were singing everything. I mean, it was like a regular old Dick Clark bandstand there. I was going to give it a 75 because it has a good dance beat. But they were singing everything, and they were into it. And that's sometimes we were discussing down the line, the 1A, 2A, 3A schools really have those cheers, the songs. These are girls that are together. They grew up together, you know, elementary, middle, and high school all at the same place. Where softball, they play in softball diamonds where 90% of the fans bring lawn chairs and sit somewhere around the field. Playing in someone's backyard almost. Well, this is Fort Dodge's backyard. They're sitting in the outfield here. Under the lights. We are under full lights now here as we begin the 5th inning. Megan Blumgren looks at the first pitch, sail out of the zone. Megan kind of got it going in the ball game. She had a double on the first pitch. Was stranded there, but it was in the 3rd when she walked, stole a base, and then scored on the Bailey Richards hit. It kind of changed the context of this softball game. The 1-0 is in there for a strike. Coach James Flaws, his father Jim Flaws. See, I asked, is it Jim or James? It's James.
Let's go, 3.
I asked him what has he learned from his father, and he said, well, I've learned a lot of things, but he goes, I've also learned a lot of things not to do as well. But, you know, he said he's listened, he'd asked a lot of questions of his dad, learned how to teach these players the fundamentals, how to be a good 2-strike hitter, how to hit with runners in scoring position. Just those little key things that, you know, in a softball family like the Flaws family, you'd probably sit around and drink your coffee in the morning and talk about strategy and what you need to do. And so he's learned a lot, and, you know, very grateful that he is in this position at Van Meter to be able to pass on some of those thoughts and those philosophies.
The 2-2 to Blumgren is swung on and missed, and Lehman gets the strikeout. And Flaws said that he's actually done some things that his father doesn't do and wouldn't do, and he's okay with that. He can be enough of his own coach, and he says, I'm going to try my way. Now, the younger Flaws went up to Storm Lake St. Mary's and coached there for a couple of years, said there's about 30 girls out at the 30 girls at the school total in the high school. And he said he got about 18 of them out for softball. Blumgren hits it deep towards center, gives it a ride, but there to haul it in is Emma Corkery. And there's 2 away here in the Van Meter 5th. Corkery did not play last year. She had a leg injury that she injured in soccer. It was an ankle. She was here. It was tough to cheer, but she did. As Coach Protzman said, she's a junior on your roster, but really a sophomore in her softball career. She is glad to be back. Called that one in with ease. Corkery said, no, she is not done. She did not go back out for soccer. Instead, she went out for track.
Different opportunity and maybe a little less contact than soccer, and protect that ankle. Getting ready for softball. Maybe a little bit different weight program that you work on when you're in track.
Sarah Lehman here trying to get out of this inning on a 1-2-3, facing the tough hitter Bailey Richards. Popped up mile high into the night sky. Calling for it is the third baseman, Emily Bonnet. She grabs it. And the Regals hope that's a little momentum into their side of the diamond.
Smile at yourself, and hit the ball. 1, 2, 3, go! Or whatever.
You know, I happened to run into the Pleasant Valley coach after the game. And I just said, hey, you know, and I even said it on air. I said, you have a future as a motivational speaker. And she just kind of looked down and she, you know, and no, I said, I'm serious. I mean, those were good. We were ready to go play softball. And some coaches, like maybe a Doc Stenberg at Benton Community, he didn't really say much to those girls. He knew that his team knew what to do. Right. And that's, you know, that's just as good of coaching as anything.
Well, everybody has their own approach, and I think you have to read what your players respond to as a coach. And so some years you may have a different group of girls that need to have a little bit of a fire lit under them to get them going and that kind of thing. Other years, as kids graduate and come through in your different group of girls, you may need to back down a little bit, be a little bit more calm, be a little bit more motivational. So I really think the good coaches out there understand the makeup of their team year in and year out. And you're going to have a different one every year because you graduate players.
3-3-0 for Van Meter, 0-1-0 for Regina. And, you know, I said to Coach Protzman, I go, well, you're back in the title game and, you know, a lot of the same team. He goes, I got 6 new ones. Had a couple girls not go out that had been key contributors for him, but he found some good players, played a brutal schedule. He still has a freshman, sophomore in the bottom side of his lineup and a sophomore towards the top. He loses a big senior in Kennedy Brown, but he brings back a pitcher in Sarah Lehman. But this season is not over yet, far from done. We've got 9 outs to go here in the 5th for the Regals. To start us off is Jess Hunter, followed by Taylor O'Connor. Richards' first pitch is out of the zone. Hunter struck out back in the 2nd. Trying to get on base. Richards trying to keep her off the base. Fouled back into the screen.
Doing a good job trying to go the other way with that pitch. And I think that's something that Coach Protzman has talked to them about. Look out over the plate and go with the pitch. Don't try to pull everything.
That's in there for a called strike. If it's there to the right, take it to the right. If it's there to the left, pull it to the left. And that's what worked. That's worked for other teams today.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams go opposite field and utilize what's given to them by the pitcher.
Swung on and missed. Jess Hunter down on strikes. That's 4 for Bailey Richards. Saw Richards before the game tonight. She wasn't talking to many other people. She was just ready for it to go. You know, it's bad enough you got to sit around all day waiting to play this game. And then you got to sit because other games have gone long. First pitch sails out of the zone. You know, you talk about those athletic teams, maybe they play always an 11 o'clock game and they're not used to playing a 7 o'clock game. It's hard to keep yourself occupied.
Well, and you talked about they came out to check out a little bit of that Carlisle game as well, and they eventually just said, you know what, a couple innings out here, we got to go back and get warm and get ready for our game. And you know, so they tried to do some things to get them out of the dorm or the hotel and get them out moving around, and that's what you have to do. You don't want these players sitting around all day just waiting for their game time to come around.
Coach Floss said after yesterday's semifinal, and it was still a very warm day, it was still north of 90 when they played their game, and he said the girls, when they got done, he says, well, do you want to go out and do anything tonight? And they're like, nope, we just want to take a shower and go to bed. We are done. And he's like, well, okay, fine by me. I'll let you have that sleep.
Yeah. Well, it wears you out, and after playing and trying to stay cool and in and out of the dugout and everything, you just want to get back to your room and clean up and just relax.
Did you see that wink that Richards just did? She's feeling it now. Just pulled the string on that one. A second strike out of the inning.
Time!
And we're going to have a pinch hitter, it looks like. So coming in is going to be Paisley Gardner. Paisley getting a chance to swing the bat here. She's a sophomore. Had a few plate appearances this year, but a chance to swing here in a championship game. She comes to bat with 2 outs here in the 5th. Swung on and missed.
Has had the opportunity most of this game to see what Bailey Richards is throwing, and now gets the opportunity to try to add another hit to their total. They've only scratched out 1 hit here against Richards.
So Richards still thinks she's a catcher because she keeps asking where the placement of the pitches are. She's not supposed to do that as much at the mound. She can do it at the plate, ask where it is.
Well, she's instructing Archer to say, turn around and ask the umpire where that one was. So, you know, she thinks like a catcher, but she's in the circle now, so that, and that's what she was trying to explain when we talked to her last night was, yeah, it's kind of nice because I can think on both ends of it on how to approach a hitter, if I'm behind the plate or if I'm in front of them, what I need to do, so I can work through it on both ends.
Gardner down to her last strike here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Swung on and missed. Richards strikes out the side. Her 4th, 5th, and 6th strikeouts of the game. We go to the 6th. And how did we get here? It's 3-0 at this point, but it was really, we'll get to the Van Meter 3rd in a moment. Or right now. That's the big hit by Bailey Richards, the pitcher. Back when we still had daylight, she hit it where there was a lot of daylight. Drove in 2, and then the next batter was Casey JAMISON. She drives home Richards, and it's 3-0 at that point. And then in the 4th inning, the Regals ran into a couple of good defensive plays by the 3rd baseman, Lizzie Lyon. She caught that one, then she charges on the bunt. Goes down to Anita to make that catch. And that kind of stopped any momentum that the Regals were going to have at that point. So now it's going to be up to Sarah Lehman. What can she do to keep it close for her team?
Well, that's what she has to do. She just has to keep them off base. She's got to mow down this lineup, get her team back up to bat.
JAMISON had the RBI in her last appearance. She bats here to start off the 6th. Takes the first pitch. Outside for a ball. Fun to say that you drove in a run in a state championship game.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we talk about the Regals and their schedule. I mean, they got beat by the Class 5A state champion Johnston Dragons 18-0 back in about, that was their second loss of the season. They'd lost to Jessup after starting 8-0. Then they lost to Johnston. Listen to this, Laura. They lost to Johnston, Southeast Polk, and Cedar Rapids Jefferson. 3 5A powers. They're not afraid to play those bigger schools.
No, and that's what the coaching staff feels like. You prepare your team, and it's not all about what the record is at the end of the regular season. It's about how you perform when you get into tournament play and how you perform when you get to Fort Dodge. And that's kind of what Coach Protzman feels is, yeah, okay, we lost a few games here over the course of the summer, but how do you perform when you get to the state tournament?
Also lost games to Hoover, play Davenport West, Waukee, Cascade. Liner is caught by the third baseman, Emily Bonnet, to start the 6th. Also played Pleasant Valley, which played for a state title today in Class 5A. Carlisle, which played for a state title today in 4A. Durant, who is here at state, beat a good Pella Christian team just to get to state in the regional final. Ground ball hit to short. Kennedy Brown up and over and out. 2 away in the 6th. And Van Meter, they haven't shied away from a tough schedule as well. Played Winterset, which played in the state title game last year. Perry, who was here this week. Played Centennial of Ankeny. Ballard, that's a class up. Collins Maxwell Baxter, that's a state tournament qualifier.
Well, neither of these teams are afraid to challenge their players, and that's what you have to do throughout the course of the season, and you want to set yourself up for success when you get into the latter part of the season and the latter part of the summer and looking towards tournament play. Right after the 4th of July, you start getting into those district play in those brackets, knowing that what's behind you has set you up for success.
You see Lehman drop the rosin, wipe the pants, get the ball, puts it towards the plate, and it's fouled off by Lizzie Lyon. Great camera work tonight by this crew, hard-working crew. I think they all lost about 10 pounds of water weight today. Good job keeping them rotated through and bringing you these incredible images. Like that one.
I'm not sure how they did it, because on top of those dugouts, that heat was just radiating.
Grounder to second is fielded by Rostick. And Van Meter goes quietly, 1, 2, 3.
Big hits. It's raining. This is it. Here we go.
Showtime. 1, 2, 3.
Showtime! Here we go.
They're down to their 6 outs left in the game as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Well, in these championship games today, we have seen teams make the most of their last 6 outs. They have used them wisely and been able to come back in ball games and get on top and win state titles when they've been in this position. So we're at a point in this ball game where Iowa City Regina is getting down to their last few opportunities. They got the top of the lineup up. It's a good way for them to start, but Bailey Richards has been so tough in the circle.
Funny you mention that, Laura. It's almost like you know we're going to talk about Bailey Richards. Let's take a look at these strikeouts today. She has had an incredible performance from the circle. She has kind of kept, she's gone high, she's gone out, she's gone down, she's gone in, and up and in, and down the middle up. 6 strikeouts for Richards.
Every one of those pitches in a different spot, and that tells you that she has great command of her pitches and is hitting the glove, hitting the spots where they want to work it.
So Richards goes to the circle, Top of the order for the Regals. You're going to get it started. This is the way to do it. Emma Corkery, lead off. Here in the 6th. And is ahead in the count now. 1 ball and no strikes for Corkery. She's 0 for 2 today, a fly out and a line out. Flew out to right field and lined out to the shortstop. Back in the 3rd. That one's out of the zone. And now Richards. Falls behind. And that one is high. Had a chance to talk to Bailey's father after the game yesterday. I knew he grew up in the Waterloo area, and I said, how'd you get down here? And he says, Coach Shirley. So there's a bond among these parents and these players. Shirley, the center fielder. 3-0 is in there for a called strike on Corkery. Van Meter, which is west of Des Moines.
Home of Bob Feller.
Home of Bob Feller, the fireballer. Ground ball, gonna probably get her on base. And it is. FORRET had no chance on that one. That was hit right between FORRET and Lyon.
FORRET did a great job going deep into the hole. Backhands that. Tries to make the strong throw, and Tiplin did a good job coming off the base, knowing they didn't have a chance to get her. Just save that ball, didn't want it to go in the dirt.
And I think Corkery might have helped Richards there. Because that probably was ball 4 that she swung at. And Richards falls behind again in this batter to April Grostic. That one is again out of the zone. She looks into the dugout. Coach Flaws, you kind of wonder if he's going to let the senior work it out, or if he's going to have to go out and talk with her. She's got to dig down, heart of the order here for Regina. And that's a strike. Grostic hit by pitch in the 1st. Hopped up to the second baseman back in the 3rd. Bats here in the 6th with a runner on. Down by 3. Lots of softball left, but the clock is ticking and the window is closing. Grostic calls time. She wants to go down to talk to Coach.
Thing yet.
If you believe.
Well, thing is, I think you can hit the ball.
I do. Okay.
Wait, we try the bun?
I don't know. I just don't want to.
I know.
I'm confident in my hit, but I just don't want to pop it out and screw it over.
Okay.
Like, I just want to be confident and I know I can do that.
Okay. Let's do this. Look for my sign.
Oh, I thought we were going to get the final verdict, but now we got to steal the sign. So good conversation, though, between coach and player to try to work things out in a situation where they desperately need base runners.
You're down 3, you score 1, you need 3. So, yeah, every run matters here, though. Swing and a miss. And Grostic can't move the runner up.
Yeah, she went after a high pitch again, one that was up in her eyes. Probably would have been a ball.
And she probably, if she would have bunted, would have popped it up.
Yeah.
And that's what she was afraid of. Swing and a miss. Kennedy Brown trying to hit that one somewhere to Algona with that swing.
You know, she was aggressive, went after that first pitch, and it was a ball that she would have caught up to. She could drive.
Brown looks at a called strike. Brown 0 for 2 in this ballgame. Struck out in the 1st, flied out in the 4th. Bats here with a runner aboard in the 6th and 1 out. 3-0, Van Meter. That's out of the zone, and Richards feels like she's got a little more confidence back and intentionally put it there. I don't know if she had it earlier in the inning.
No, I think she was just trying to be a little too fine with her pitches, and now she's just dealing, and Kennedy Brown needs to choke up and protect, put this ball in play, find a gap.
Brown rips it. Wow. Foul. That was one of the hardest hit balls I've seen all week.
Well, that's how quick her bat speed is, and a lot of times pitchers and catchers, and Bailey Richards is both, knows what to do after a hitter has done that. You might see something a little off speed to Kennedy Brown.
You don't think Brown's thinking that too? That's what's fun about this, because you know that's what she's thinking. And they go out of the zone. I think they thought the changeup would be exactly what she was expecting. So it was kind of like the spy versus spy move right there. You do what I do, and I'll do it back because I know you're going to do it, so I'm going to do it instead. Follow that? We need a graphic on that. Can you work that up, Andrew? 2-2. 1 out. The pitch to Brown. Change up, misses. Home fans for Van Meter thought it was in for a strike. Home plate umpire said, no, it's a ball. We'll move it full. How about a little more drama?
3 balls, 2 strikes.
What's Kennedy Brown got here? What has Brown done for you? She's about to find out. Popped up, foul out of play. We'll do it again.
They really fought hard to get that one fouled. That was off the handle as she had to pull the hands in to even get a piece of that. Great pitch by Richards.
Brown is a .441 average hitter, slugging at .806. 13 doubles. She'd like 14 right about now. High, she'll take a walk. Ball 4.
That was a quality at bat by Kennedy Brown. Got down in the count and was able to fight back to get the walk and put 2 runners on.
And now you face Lehman, who can tie it with 1 swing.
Just pull it and jack it, foul up or whatever, like, or pop it up. All you got to do is hit the ball in the nose. It'll go where it's supposed to go. Does it make sense to you? Okay, I have faith in you. Hit the ball in the nose, okay? All right, so we'll get it done.
You got it, sir.
Job.
Hit it on the nose. Square it. You hear coaches talk about that all the time. Tell you what, Brown and Lehman are just incredible athletes with that bat. Watching them swing it.
They have quick hands. They get through the zone, and that's why you see the numbers that you just quoted for these hitters.
The conferences are done. Richards coaching from the circle. I think she'd make a pretty good coach if she wanted to.
No, I think she understands the game very well, and she's seen it from 2 different perspectives as a pitcher and a catcher.
First pitch strike to Lehman. Lehman popped up to end the first. Had a single back in the 4th. She has 1 of the team's 2 hits. We've only had 5 combined hits in this contest. Richards deals out of the zone. Evened it up at a ball and a strike.
Corkery's getting a pretty good jump out there at second base. Blomgren's trying to sneak in behind her. Might try to pick her off.
Low, but it's hit high in the air towards Shirley in center. She makes the grab. Runners are not able to advance. Lehman gave it a ride, but just not enough. And there's 2 away here in the Regina 6th.
Big at bat here for Bracken to keep that inning alive.
Popped up again. Headed foul. Lizzie Lyons not going to be able to scale that fence. But darn it, she was going to try. Katie Bracken, the freshman here, gets another chance. Tying run at the plate. Go-ahead run on deck. 2 outs here in the 6th. Regina, this is your time. At least break that seal. Popped up towards right. It's playable. And the catch is made. Casey JAMISON. Nice play. The Regals strand 2 runners. The Bulldogs need some insurance.
Finish it right now. Finish right now. We talk about this, right? You finish games, okay? Tougher team wins. Be the tougher team right now. Finish right now. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go. Good play, Case.
What a great play by JAMISON in right field. Had to come a long way to get that ball. Looked like it might drop in and score the first run for Regina, but she gets underneath it, lays out, and goes to the ground and pulls it in.
Van Meter scored 3 runs back in the 3rd, and they did it with the top of the lineup, which is what has been productive all night, or all tournament for that matter. 10 of the runs that Van Meter has scored, 8 of their 10 runs have come from the top 3 hitters in their lineup, and tonight all 3 of them have scored. That would be Megan Blumgren, Mackenzie Blumgren, and Bailey Richards. But right now for Van Meter, it's Abby Archer, Bailey Harding, and Dion Shirley to bat in this 7th inning. Van Meter would love to score 1 more, maybe 2.
You always can use a little bit of an insurance run or 2 runs in this situation to get a little bit more separation from a team that has pretty good lineup and some pop in their bats.
Abby Archer done a great job behind the plate tonight. She's got a strong arm. You noticed how much she can zing that back?
She really does.
And I'm sure that Richards has helped her out a little bit. Oh, and she's hit right on the leg on... Whew. She's smiling.
I think they got her on the calf. That ball just got away from Lehman and got her on the calf and puts that base runner on. But you're right, Archer's got one heck of an arm behind the plate. But here...
she's got a bruise on the calf to go with that arm.
You know, usually as a catcher, you get all your bruises catching a pitcher. You don't necessarily get them when you're at the plate.
And that's a well-deserved courtesy runner for Olivia Pronti. There's a look at Olivia. She's like, I'm in the state championship game. I'm in the state championship game. This is kind of fun. Wait a minute, I gotta remember. Okay, here we go. Because you're not expecting it always. But those good courtesy runners always are. They're ready to go. She probably had that helmet at the at-bat.
Took a look over at coach and got the signals, knows what she needs to be doing in this situation.
Harding lays, oh, that's a foul ball, and that one hurt too.
I don't know if that one came in on the hands.
We have to see that one again if we can. That one, I don't know what happened.
Apparently it didn't seem to bother her because she stepped right back into the box.
Oh, ball gets away from the catcher, Dunn. Heading down to second is Pronti. Bailey Harding 0 for 2 tonight, struck out twice. Her last strikeout was part of that strikeout of the side that Lehman had back in the 4th. Lehman had a good 4th and 5th and 6th. She's really had Hiring crew is going to conference. Julie Fogelsong calls over George Harwood and LaWayne Rogers.
Do you have anything to...
I have nothing to give you on that. Nothing. She didn't go either.
All right, thank you.
It'll stay as a wild pitch.
One more.
I didn't hear anything to aid in that conversation either. And that's that blink of the eye play. And Shirley's going to put it into the glove of the center fielder, who was in on that. CORKERY playing about 10 feet behind where the grass meets the dirt. And then she made it look easy. That's good defensive strategy there by the Regals.
Good alignment, and now you can see her moving and making the adjustment as the top of the lineup comes up. So that's a good scouting report, knowing the personnel.
Megan Blumgren showed bunt, and she just about watched the pitch go past the catcher. Megan had a good game. A double, a walk, scored a run. She's looking to add to it, runner at third. 2 outs here in the 7th. Shows bunt, pulls it back. Van Meter 32-7 in this contest. The Regals 29-16. Both of these squads with impressive schedules, all getting them ready for right now. I asked Coach Flaws before the game, you going to schedule that tough again next year? He said, absolutely. Didn't miss a beat.
Well, they do. They want to play the best, and it certainly has prepared them this season to be able to get to this point.
Called strike on Megan Blumgren. Rosin milking it for every.
You got to figure out how to get on, whether it's via the walk, hit by pitch, good old-fashioned base hit. Maybe surprise the defense by laying one down and trying to beat it out. Just something to start a rally, and that's exactly what Regina is looking for. And on the other side of the coin, Van Meter just wants to shut them down. 1, 2, 3. First out is the biggest out for them. They want to get that one under their belt.
Richard said pincher earlier this week. It's a surreal feeling right now. She was getting ready to play in the state title game. She has not taken anything for granted, nor have her teammates. And you know she's probably got the motivational speech right there.
They're taking a little bit longer in that huddle, and they're going to have to go out and break them up because she wanted to give a few words of wisdom to her team. They've got the cushion of the 3 runs. So if they do get into a situation where there are base runners, all you're thinking is outs. Just to get outs, don't worry about those runners advancing until you get into a situation where if you get the bases loaded, those kinds of things. But you just need outs at this situation.
As Benton's pitcher, Amber Fizer, would say, 1 pitch at a time. The first one is out of the zone for a ball. But that's what I was going to ask you, Laura. What is going through her mind right now?
Well, I know right now she doesn't want to fall behind in the count. She wants to work ahead in the count. She's going to probably pitch to contact, but will allow that defense to work behind her. And they're just got a few nerves probably going on. But you don't want to start building things where you're putting base runners on with a walk. You just want to think outs. Put the ball in play, let my defense work.
The 2-0 is in there for a strike. So Bonnet is battling here, the sophomore. That breeze is. Players don't seem to notice. Fans don't seem to notice. They just know it's been a pretty darn good game. But put in play. Richards up, over, out. And the Regals are down to their last out. Taylor O'Connor stands between Van Meter's first state title in girls sports.
Trying a little drag bunt. Good flip over to first to get the out. And they're 1 out away.
Fans come to their feet. Making some noise. On this Friday night, July the 22nd, 2016, the pitch from Richards. High. O'Connor has popped out and struck out. Does she have a hit left in that bat? Swung on and missed.
Took a good rip at it. That ball just looked like it might just have dropped off the table, swung right over the top of it.
Richards, the 1-1. Misses.
Everybody on the infield.
Uh-oh.
Well, in their exuberance and their celebration, somebody on the bottom of that pile might have gotten hurt.
And the Regals and the Bulldogs shake hands. Here's what it was. Reese put it in towards short. Haley FORRET over to Shelby Tippling, and that's your ball game. And then the dog pile ensued, and I still think these two teams are, one is celebration, the other one knows what happens to win, and now the other one knows what it's like to lose in a state title game. As the Van Meter Bulldogs are your state champions, and we'll have the all-tournament team here in just a moment. And then the trophy presentation, and then we'll send you back to our regular Iowa Public Television programming. A lot of smiles, but it's a little bittersweet, almost kind of the way Key was at the end of that game before, where they had the early celebration. And Dion Shirley is going to get up now off the turf and make her way to the squad. She's like, guys, don't put me under that dog pile again. The four seniors stayed in a room together this week here at Fort Dodge.
Well, I'm glad that she's all right and able to join the celebration.
Team medals is Mark Buskell, Iowa Farm Bureau Board of Directors, District 5. The 2016 Class 2A All-Tournament team from Iowa City Regina, Katie Bracken. From Van Meter, Dion Shirley. From BCLUW, Olivia Calloway. From Logan Magnolia, Jenna Peschel. Also from Logan Magnolia, Kylan Strait. From Iowa City Regina, Kennedy Brown. From Van Meter, Megan Blomgarn. From Iowa City Regina, Emma Corkery. From Van Meter, Mackenzie Blomgren. From Iowa City Regina, Sarah Lehman. And captain of the 2016 Class 2A All-Tournament team from Van Meter, Bailey Richards. The 2016 Class 2A All-Tournament team.
Bailey Richards, the captain of that 2A All-Tournament team. That's a great lineup of players there, Laura.
It really is, and nice to have those two pitchers. If you're going to start a team, that would be two pitchers that you would certainly want on your roster.
That'd be a heck of a travel team, wouldn't it?
That would be absolutely a great travel team.
And now we'll have the trophy presentations, and I think we'll see a few tears of joy here coming in just a moment.
Now for the trophy presentation. In addition to receiving plaques, every participating player will receive a commemorative softball provided by Iowa Farm Bureau, title sponsor of the Girls Athletic Union. Presenting awards are members of the IGHSAU Board of Directors, Roger Francis and Jean Berger. Congratulations to the runner-up in Class 2A, head coach John Protzman and the Iowa City Regina Regals on an outstanding 2016 softball season. And your 2016 Class 2A State Softball Champions, head coach James Flaws and the Bulldogs from Van Meter.
First time in school history, Van Meter had even played for a team state championship, and in their first try, take home the trophy.
Oh, what a great run. They were the hot team coming into this tournament, and they stayed hot all the way through. They got some clutch hitting, got some very solid pitching from Bailey Richards, and quite a win and quite an accomplishment for this Bulldog team.
Laura Leonard, thank you so very much for your efforts this week. I appreciate it. It's always fun to work with you.
I enjoy working with you. Love this tournament. Love Iowa girls softball.
We saw some good games. Thank you so very much to the entire Iowa Public Television crew. Had a great time here in Fort Dodge this week. Saw some great games. We went out with a bang. It was a big third inning for Van Meter. 3 runs, and that's all they needed. As the Bulldogs advance with a trophy, they head home with the title. We'll see you in volleyball. So long from Fort Dodge. Funding for the Iowa Girls High School Softball Championships is provided by
The path to greatness starts early. The Iowa Farm Bureau believes in Iowa's youth and their pursuit of greatness. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Each student's effort is important, and when one rises, we all rise to a better Iowa.
Fairway, along with Nabisco, Trumu, Frito-Lay, and Sara Lee, is a proud sponsor of the 2016 Iowa Girls High School Sports Championships. We congratulate all the schools and student athletes participating in this year's Girls High School State Soccer Championships. Fairway, proud to care for the places we work and live.
By MUSCO Lighting, the sports lighting specialist, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community.
Mid-American Energy and their Energy Advantage programs are dedicated to increasing the awareness of energy efficiency in Iowa's homes and businesses. Information is at midamericanenergy.com. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly.